in the whip right now, heading to the Passive Income Conference. This is an event that my brother Nehemiah is putting on. And at this event, there's about 300 to 400 plus entrepreneurs, people that have traveled from all across the country to learn how to create passive income and to become financially free, right? And I have the pleasure of speaking on Airbnb and short-term rentals and how to create passive income in that realm, right? So stay tuned. It's about to be a movie. Let's go.
Ourselves out of what we could become. So for me, the very first step in all of this, y'all hear me talk about it anytime I do a talk, I always talk about you need to realize why you're doing this, because life will happen to you. He's been over 54 countries. We just came back from Cancun. Before we even went to Cancun, he was in Australia or something weird. I don't even know. It was just weird. I was like, where are you at? And he was like, bro, I'm busy, bro. Like, I'm like, do your thing. Right? But not only that, he is literally one of the GOATs in the short-term rental industry. I need you guys to really stand on your feet for my brother, Kemoy Martin. Right now, because the game that he's going to get is going to change your life. We're talking about the Airbnb. Is anybody want to get an Airbnb? You got a live on?
Hey, I'm live. Give me live on my head on this. Oh, my pad. Okay. Hey, so Jalen, that was the best intro, but Kemoy not next.
I lied. I'm sorry. I lied.
Wow.
So I need y'all to act like that was the second time y'all heard it. Yeah. Are y'all fired up about being here? Yes or yes? Right? Guys, let me ask y'all a question. Right? I remember first becoming an entrepreneur, 9+ years ago, and I remember having these thoughts. Somebody say thoughts. And I don't know if a lot of you guys are like me, but I remember when I first got started, right? If you guys can relate to any of what I'm saying, just say me too. Just say what? Me too. I remember when I first got started being an entrepreneur, I was still working at my 9 to 5. I was actually working at Department of Social Service as a caseworker. And I remember being at that job thinking, man, I just want to be financially free. Let me repeat that again. I remember being at my 9 to 5, just thinking like, man, I just want to be financially free. And I just remember days thinking to myself like, man, I want to create generational wealth for my family. And I just also remember thinking, I remember going on vacation and I would end up going back on that plane, headed back home, thinking to myself like, you know what? Back to reality. Right. How many of y'all can just resonate with that? Like, back to reality. Me too. And I hate that feeling. I don't know about y'all. Because why is it that like my actual life is a reality that I'm escaping? That's why it's called vacation. Because you're vacating from something. And I didn't just want to keep vacating from my norm. I wanted my norm to feel like a vacation. Me too. So today we're going to talk about how to build a 6-figure plus Airbnb business without owning any property. And how to be able to do that working less than 6 hours a week. Y'all ready for that? Yeah. And I'm gonna share my story with you guys in terms of how I got into the business, and you're gonna be able to relate it to how you be able to get into business, also be able to scale up to that level of success that you want. Raise your hand if you already have an Airbnb. Raise your hand if you want to have an Airbnb. Cool. So for some of you guys that don't know me, name's Kemoy Martin, right? Jamaican, bred, Anybody from the islands? Wagwan. Right? Brooklyn, New York raised. Anybody from Brooklyn, New York? Right? How doing? Right? Raised in Brooklyn, went to Morgan State University in Baltimore. Right? Found out really quick. I got allergic to working for people. And serial entrepreneur, done a lot of different businesses. And the way how I came about finding this whole Airbnb thing was actually very unique. I was having a lot of success in another business. Bank can break, something can happen. Well, what if I'm out the country? I don't want to be Mr. Fix-It. You don't want to be Mrs. Fix-It. Does that make sense? So what you can do is you can hire some type of maintenance man, some type of handyman person. So that way you have somebody boots on the ground. In the event that anything were to happen, they can take care of it. You don't have to pay them salary. You can pay them based on per job, and it can be very low cost. Does that make sense? And would you guys like to know where you can find a handyman? You go on Thumbtack. Or you ever been to Home Depot really early in the morning? Whatever you want, you just go to Home Depot really early in the morning. You'll find somebody to do whatever you want, right? Like there's a lot of crafty people that's outside waiting for jobs, whatever. You'll find them there, right? But needless to say, that's a great place to find a handyman or maintenance person. That make sense? Perfect. Another question I was asking myself was, do I have to talk to each and every last guest all the time? Because it's cool, maybe if I have one property, and the questions maybe not that much, but let's just say I have 5 properties, 10 properties, 15, 20, so on and so forth. Do I have to answer every single question and deal with all these problems? And what I found out was, no. Because what I can do is, I can hire a virtual property management team and also a virtual assistant. Does that make sense? I literally have virtual assistants that talk to my guests 365 days out the year, 7 days a week, 24/7. Just every hour on the hour, all day long. It doesn't matter if a guest reaches out at 3 in the morning or 3 p.m. There's somebody to talk to them and answer all their questions. You guys know where to find virtual assistants. Upwork, they're just online jobs out, PH. But needless to say, you don't have to answer these questions. Now, I'm going to be very conservative because there's opportunities to make a lot more on your short-term rental. I have students that literally make, over 6 figures just with one Airbnb, right? But just to be extremely conservative, and let's just say it's, a regular 1-bedroom or studio, right? And you're making about $1,500 a month in profit, right? Being very conservative. About how many of these properties would you need to have a 6-figure income? Y'all do the math. To have a 6-figure income, it's like $8,333 a month or something like that, yes? How many of these, sounds like gunshots, right? But how many of those would you need to have a 6-figure income? About 6 or 7, yes? Great. Well, if you have a self-checking system for one property, can you have a self-checking system for 6 properties? If you have a cleaner for one property, can you have a cleaner for 6 flags? Okay, cool. That's a lot better, right? You can have a cleaner for 6 properties, yes? And if you have a handyman for one property, can you have a handyman for 6 properties? And if you have a virtual assistant for one property, can you have a VA for 6 properties? So do you understand how you can have a 6-figure plus income working less than 6 hours a week? Because if you have all these individuals and all these people just within your business, about how many hours a week would you have to put into your business? Not much. Not much. Somebody say build a team. A lot of us feels like in order to make more money, we have to work more. That's not true. And I'm pretty sure this whole entire day you guys will hear nothing about delegating, systems, and all these things. And it's absolutely true. Now, a big question that people have is, well, I understand that you can Airbnb without, owning property, but how do you get it? Like, why would a landlord just allow you to rent out their house, condo, apartment when they can do it themselves? Have you guys ever had that question? Nobody? Y'all think it's easy peasy? That's cool if y'all do. Well, I have a lot of people just that they kind of wonder, well, would a landlord really allow me to do it? Because I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Most people, they do it illegally. You guys understand it, yes? Most people just rent out places and they just hope they don't get caught. And I gotta tell you, I did it that way when I first got started. I did this completely wrong. I didn't get permission when I first got started, but that didn't turn out so well. Eviction notice after eviction notice and so on and so forth. But I gotta tell you, after being in this business for a long period of time and understanding how great it is, I just wanted to start doing it right way. Somebody to legally get these properties. Do you guys want to know why a landlord or property manager will allow you to get these properties? Well, I'm gonna tell you. Do you guys want to know how? Well, I got a little bit of time, but I'm gonna share as much as I can. This is how you convince a landlord or property manager. You have to be an asset. You gotta provide value. And here are 3 things that you really want to write down that if you embody and understand these 3 things, a landlord or property manager will really be inclined to say yes to you. So the first thing is, you have to understand that a landlord or property manager is looking for somebody to be a good, consistent paying tenant. Yes? Do you know that a lot of landlords out here are burnt out because they're dealing with tenants that are not paying rents? You guys understand that? If you don't understand that, go to a courthouse. Constantly fighting for rent. Any landlords here? You ever fought for rent? Yup. So the thing is, do you know Airbnb and short-term rental homes, do you know that we're financially incentivized to pay the rent every single month? Imagine we get a 1-year lease, we buy all this furniture, we put all these systems in place, we got bookings this week, we got bookings next week, we got bookings next month, and months and months and months to come. Do you think we're going to ruin a good thing and not pay rent? No. Now a tenant, they're not financially incentivized. They'll not pay you rent and do the same thing somewhere else. But us, on the other hand, we're a little bit more invested. Make sense? Yeah. So we're not going to be those people. Yes? Here's another thing. They're looking for somebody to take great care of their property. Have you guys ever heard horror stories of tenants like destroying, right, like a house or apartment after they moved out? Do you know turnover is a landlord's greatest expense? Raise your hand if you've ever stayed in an Airbnb in your life. Like, let me know, have you ever seen like an amazing Airbnb, like something that was fire? Like you didn't want to leave? Like you taking extra flicks for the grand? It was just so much better to get home. I lied. It's fine. Well, understand this. Do you know that Airbnb and short-term rental entrepreneurs were financially incentivized to keep the property in for sale condition? Somebody say for sale condition. We're getting the place professionally clean, right? And do you know that if there's any damages that occur, we can easily submit those damages to Airbnb and they'll help us reimburse us for those damages. You guys understand that, right? The TV could break, the bed can break, the sofa can break, the walls get scuffed up. It doesn't really matter. Somebody say document. You document all those damages, you upload it to Airbnb, and Airbnb will literally reimburse you for those damages. So they'll literally help you maintain the look of the property all throughout the year. Does that make sense? So if you were a landlord, and you understood the dynamics of what we bring to the table, in comparison to a tenant, who would you rather rent your property out to? If you really understand it. The reason why a lot of people don't understand that they can legally acquire these properties is because they don't understand why we're of value, why we're an asset. Somebody say asset. But we're an asset, we bring a lot to the table, and when you believe, somebody say believe, you can easily get properties all day long. Every time I'm looking to get another unit, I don't believe I can, it's easy. But for a lot of people, that's probably the hardest thing for them, wondering if they can get a property legally. Does that make sense? Here's the third thing. Landlords and property managers are looking for somebody right now that embodies these different characteristics in which I just shared with you guys. Because for whatever reason, there are landlords and property managers that have an empty house, empty condo, empty apartment. And every single month that goes by and that place is not rented out, you know what's happening? They're losing money. This property is no longer an asset, it's what now? A liability, because assets make you money and liabilities cost you money. So now they start becoming motivated. Somebody say motivated. And when they become motivated and we provide value, they're more inclined to say yes to us. Does that make sense? Yeah. And what you have to understand is you can put yourself in a position to start acquiring these properties like nobody's business. And I want you guys to really look at this on a whole nother level. As you guys are getting these event spaces, and you guys understand that you can utilize your event space with Airbnb experiences as well? Like, you know you can literally hire a salsa dancer in your city and create a salsa dance lesson in your event space? Just have them do it. You ain't gotta show up.